Hello everyone, this is Scramble from Emotionless Crypto Trading, and here we go with the 100x strategy on Bitmex leverage trading. As I've promised, this video is going to share with you the way I'm working with this 100x way of making money on Bitmex leverage trading, right? So before we get started, I must have a little disclaimer where I need to show my 100% honesty. Right, so we don't do any sort of guarantees that you're going to be able to implement a strategy. We're not guaranteeing in this video anything basically from the profits or losses perspective, right? So we can't guarantee that because we don't have control over your actions. On the other side, we do guarantee something, which is a value of the content that is backed up by my experience and history of my trading activity, right? So whatever I'm teaching here is just because this is what worked for me and this is how I've been able to succeed on a 100x strategy most of the times, because that's what matters to be on profit on long term. I can tell you there's 99.5% ways of losing on 100x because that's the way it's designed. Maybe even more than 99.5% losing money on 100x. That's just the way the liquidation appears and it's killing you. Very simple. That's why I'm saying I do have a lot of strategies to share with you which are going to make you to lose money, but that's not the point for this videos. What I'm trying to do is to show you what's working for me, right? So very simple. Great. Again, Bitmex leverage margin trading. This is what we're doing. And in this video, I'm going to present you, even on the technical analysis side, what are the details you need to have in order to proceed with the strategy, because there's a specific way this one is working, and you have to apply this. Great. Now, I must consider that in order to be able to complete all the steps that we're putting together, you will need to have a very high skill set of discipline. If you don't have any sort of high level of discipline, don't do this. Don't try with it on real money. Try with it on Bitmex testnet with virtual BTC. But also this something that I'm suggesting around trying this strategy and getting started with it. Better do it with virtual money before you go into real BTC. Make profits for a month with virtual. If you made profits 100x for a month on virtual money, then just go ahead and do it in real money. This is first case scenario that we would have to discuss. All right, so let's just get started. 100x strategy right here. We've got a couple of points that we're going to discuss. Hopefully the video is not going to be too long and I'm trying to make it straight to the point, right? So high risk, everyone knows about. This is the probably one of the highest risk way to do it. There is even higher leverage than 100x, but I would assume that 100x should be considered as the highest. That still has a little bit of possibility for you to make money. It still has that space. Although you can go even more than 100x on Bitmex for BTC, for example. Right, so the high risk needs to be understood. It's extremely high risk. And you have to see if it's worth it or not. That's why virtual money first, then real money. I'm not going to tell you this is going to work for everyone out there. I'm going to tell you what's happening with me. I've lost a lot of money doing 100x strategies. And there is only a specific way it's working. If we're doing something wrong, it's going to be lost for sure, right? So the next thing here is going to be the small liquidation. This is another big deal that needs to be discussed. Small liquidation spot that you have between your entry and the liquidation price you're going to receive. Very small, usually 0.4%. Right, so the volatility in the crypto space of 0.4% might happen in the next 5 seconds after your entry. Right, so I'm going to repeat that once again. In the next 5 seconds after your entry, this thing could happen because it happened to me, and not just because of that, because you might look around the space and you see on the trading, on the charts that it's happening, right? So it's realistic, not just because it happened to me, because it's happening on the market. 0.4% might happen in the next 5 seconds, or it might happen in the next 2 hours. Depends. Depends which direction you're going. Small liquidation is not going to permit you to go away from the computer, from the device you're working with, suggesting you not to trade on the mobile 100x because Bitmex is lagging more on mobile than on computer, right? So, or laptop, it doesn't matter, but not mobile, desktop device or mobile, right? So no mobile 100x, it's lagging, and you're not gonna have time to close your order, and you might get liquidated if you don't have a stop loss. If you have a stop loss, the story is different. But it happened to me to do it on mobile until the time I wanted to put the stop loss, I got liquidated. And I tell you, it was 20 seconds, but I got liquidated because a crash came in and it just, attacked me. That's all. Very easy. It can kill you very, very fast. Another thing, this is not a video to discourage you. That's why go virtual money first. Good, we've covered that. You must have a very good entry. You don't need to have a good entry. You need to have a very good entry. If it is whatever below a very good entry, if it's good, average, or bad, you're going to make a loss. You're going to lose money with your position. Only a very good entry is going to represent a possible profit, but it's not going to guarantee the profit, because the profit is guaranteed by the exit you're making, right? So there's two stages of 100x, like any other trade. Entry must be good, which is easier than the exit. The exit must be very good as well. If it's not, you're lost. Very simple. I would also tell you that whatever movement is wrong here is just going to end up in a loss for you. And that's the way it's set up. Unfortunately, that's the way the 100x system is not permitting you to make any wrong movement. And that's why we have a very, very low percentage of how this thing is working for the long term and how many people are making money on this one, right? So very, very low percentage. Although if you're not highly experienced on leverage, I'm not suggesting you to do 100x. For you, it's going to be even 10x, a lot of risk. And I would suggest you to go with that. Because out of 10 situations with 100x, 9 times out of 10 you can lose money if you're not experienced. And I would also say highly experienced. That's probably the best way to put it. Highly experienced. You must be running on profits with all the other leverage trading percentages, or 10x, 50x, 5x, 25x, whatever. You must be on profit for the long term, which means 3 to 6 months minimum, up to a few years. If you're profit on that, then you can try 100x. That's the way I would see. Otherwise, gambling, high possibility of losing. That's why better go virtual money. Virtual money can be found on testnetbitmex.com basically. I have another video on my channel talking about this. Feel free to take a look at all the videos regarding Bitmex. That's going to help you a lot. Great. Quick trades like scalping. There's no time for high profits here. There's no, if it's happening, it's going to happen in that quick time, in that quick trade. If it's not, do not expect it that it might happen, because it's not going to happen most of the times. Like 85 times out of 100, not going to happen. And that's going to kill your portfolio. Very simple, right? So quick trades, scalping, many profits on minor price changes. What we're looking to do is to accumulate many small profits on this type of a scalping trades, right? So we're looking to accumulate out of a movement which consists 0.2, 0.3 percentage in our direction. We're closing it and we're collecting the profit quite nicely. Doing this a few times is just gonna double our investment, and even more than that pretty fast if we're aware of our good entry and good exit. Once the minimum that you have set for your exit has been reached, get out. Do not expect or dream about a better movement or a higher percentage, or just getting a feeling that I could be a billionaire from this trade. Don't get that feeling, right? So don't get that feeling at all. No, the point out of 100x is not to become a millionaire or a billionaire. The point is to train your discipline to make money and to stabilize a technique of trading. Once you stabilize and control 100x, you go back to 10x and you're going to be the king of that thing, right? So I've used 100x for training a lot, and that's another purpose why this video is also made. I didn't mention this thing from the beginning because I do believe instead of making insanely high profits or dreaming about that with 100x, which is, just very small chances likely to happen. Very, very small. Better use it for training, small profits, some losses as well. At the end of the story, we're still on profits if we do it correctly. But what matters is the experience, skill sets, and educational gainings that we were able to have and to collect from a 100x strategy. Time consuming, if you're wondering about that, well, there's nothing to wonder. It is very time consuming because you need to be having a lot of the alarms, right? You can set that on trading.com, alarms, and continuously look at the price movement. Continuously. Very high discipline level, no emotions at all. We don't care about the emotions because they are not data provided by the market. Simple. Is it worth it? Well, this is something we're going to discuss at the end, right? So let's jump to the strategy. We need a market which is low volume. That's one thing. Very low volume market. We need the lowest volume market. And we don't need a market that started to be low volume just today. We need a market that's running on low volume for a few days or for a few hours, right? So we need a period before we entry that consists low volume and sideways movement of the candlestick. This is the main strategy that works for me, right? We need low volatility, right? Which is coming usually after the low volume that's coming together like a package. Low volume usually is low volatility as well. We need small candlesticks, which is like if there is no high volatility, there is no long candlestick, right? So this thing comes together in a package. We need to use 30-minute candlestick on the chart setting. 30-minute. So we're gonna go over the chart right here, and this is BTC paired up with a US dollar Coinbase exchange 30-minute candlestick, right? I've represented the good entries. We have found 4 good entries here, which are more secure than other possible entries that we still have in this chart. We do have more, but these 4 are more secure than the others, right? So we're talking about the most secure ones right here. We look at a chart. This thing is for about 8 days because it's from 11th till today 19th. So in 8 days, 4 very good entries in 8 days. This thing is not happening every minute, every hour, every second with a 100x entry. Please consider you might not have an entry for a few days, especially when you have a highly volatile market. Great. So what happens? Like I said, we're going to go back. Low volume, sideways market, low volatility, small candlesticks. Let's just zoom into this and look at the first entry here. Let me see if I did represent it. Small liquidation 0.4. I've said it. If the market is volatile of 0.4 from the price you bought in the opposite direction, right? You're lost. You're liquidated. And hopefully you have a stop loss before 0.4. Therefore, you get that thing triggered and you don't lose your entire liquidation, your entire amount of money you've put in. Therefore, it's even less than 0.4, sort of a spot and space that you have in order to move, right? So what we're going to do is going to use a tool that measures the candlestick here, because you have to see the candlestick size. Look at the candlestick size. Let me just zoom out. Look at the candlestick size in this good entry rectangle. You can see how the candlesticks are very, very small, very small. Now that's what we need. We need a sideways movement of very low volatility small candlesticks, one after the other. That's the first pattern. I need to see that. But before I'm going to entry, I need to see this. And then I'm trying to see when it is about to be completed, right? So I'm trying to see that left to me, which means it must leave some track. There must be some candlestick like that. 4, 5, 6, which are looking like that already. Then I'm going to entry. Let's zoom in and take a look at the percentage this candlesticks are having. We're going to take this measure tool and we're going to measure the percentage. 0.07. Next one. 0.04. 0.08. 0.07. 0.07. 0.03. Do you remember you have a liquidation spot of close to 0.4? So all of those qualify. All of those qualify. What happens next is you have a candle from here to there with 0.36. This is going in profit to you. What happens next? 0.18. And this is already 1%. What I mean is an entry would be located here. That would be an entry. Because if you look left, you have a few candlesticks which are following the pattern we need. Low volume, sideways movement, very small candlesticks. And between, this is what also happens during this stage. Right? So you want to compare this to this guy right here. Totally different. You want to compare this to this guy right here. Totally different. That's a place where we don't trade. And we don't touch the market with 100x when we have high volatility, right? The simple thing we got to do is just, take this measure tool here and put it on the candlestick. We see the average candlestick is 0.40%. We are lost. There's no time for 100x at that time because the volatility is high. You need a volatility of a maximum 0.15% in the previous candles, which are of that pattern. Sideways, low volatility, little candles, right? 0.15 maximum. What I've showed you, we were having 0.07, 0.06 percentage. Very, very small volatility. And usually after those, you could expect an explosion of 1-2%. This is happening as a pattern. This is a well-known pattern, right? That's why we're searching those, because after them, there needs to be some volatility. Take a look at that. That's another entry. Let me just share with you. Can you see how we're having, I'm better zoom out again, keep zooming in, zooming out like a crazy, but that's what I have to do, right? Take a look at that. Very, very small candles over there, right? The same thing over here. Very small candles. You can see that, very low volatility. You definitely see that. Very low volatility here as well. You definitely see that. That's what you need. A row of low volatility, small candles, which needs to be measured. Let's do that and see what kind of percentage we have there. 0.08%, 0.08, 0.011, 0.011, 0.09, 0.06, 0.07, whatever. whatever out of those. Purchase long, making the money 0.7%. Do you know what that is? A lot of money. It is 70% profit because it's 100x. The same thing here for the shorting, right? So I'm telling you where the entry is, and that's what we're kind of discussing right now in this minutes. Great. The same thing over here. It's just repeating the same strategy, the same thing everywhere where I'm representing the good entry. There is another thing that I would like to share with you in this next seconds besides this type of entry is try to look after this timer here below the price, which represents the time of the candlestick you have to deal with, right? So try to entry as close as possible to the timer, to this countdown timer, when it's down to 0 and it's about to form a new candlestick, right? Try to enter at the formation of the new candlestick, because sometimes in the last 10 seconds of the candlestick, 15 seconds, right, there is an explosion, and you don't want to be part of that. You want to enter when there's 2 or 3 seconds of the candlestick and catch another a few seconds of the new one, of the fresh one created. That's the big deal out there that we have to consider. And let's take a look at these arrows. We have an arrow here on the left side, this blue arrow at the top. Look at that. Look at that. Do you see any sort of rejection there? What we have here is not a good entry. Not at all. No. But what we want to look at is how a freshly made candlestick created on this timing of 30 minutes has no rejection on the opposite side, right? So you see above the body of the candlestick there is no shadow, which means no rejection. Once the candlestick has been created, it moves straight down, and that's all. The second one as well, no rejection upwards, not a undecided market. No, it was clearly decided, right? So if you catch that, you can make a lot of money. We're gonna have an example very soon, right? So if you have that luck, which it's purely based on luck, to have a movement like an explosion after your entry in that candlestick, right? Because that's why you want to enter when it's touching 30 minutes. It's touching 30 minutes, the countdown timer is gone, it's creating another 30-minute candlestick, and you're about to be one of those guys lucky to buy in before the market explodes. Let's take a look at another thing here. This one is wrong, or maybe it's not. Let me see if it's having a shadow. Yeah, it was correct. I'm sorry. It does not have any shadow on the green candlestick. You can see that right there. Right? No shadow on the green candlestick. Take a look at that. If you would have bought in any of these positions, you could have continued with your position until you hit your target of minimum profits that you want to achieve, right? So you can see even this way right here that there is no wick on the candle, right? So once it has been established, the timer has gone to 0, the new candlestick has been formed. From that second, it just moves straightly upwards, right? So that's the big deal. Straight upwards from that second. No, volatility in the opposite direction. Straightforward up. Take a look at that. It's a lot of money here, 9%. We don't even want to discuss about, because usually if you touch the minimum you want to make, you have to sell. If you're trying to make $1 million out of 100x, you're going to end up naked. Very simple. Good. I don't want to be harsh. I just want to tell you the truth. I want to be, this sort of a brutally honest. right? So let's get back to this. Profit scenario, suggesting you to close your trades between 20 to 40%. That's the way it's going to show up over Bitmex. In order to have 20 to 40%, this is the average I'm suggesting you to close your trades. Do not dream for $1 million. The market needs to move between 0.2 and 0.4%, right? That's the way it needs to move, between 0.2 and 0.4%. Great. An average of 33%, if you calculate like that, profit, it would necessitate a 0.33% profit per trade. Realistically, that's the way the market should move, 0.33. Once that happens, you actually have 33% because you're trading on 100x, right? You have doubled your investment if you get 3 successful trades. This is the way I like to calculate. 33%, I need 0.33% movement on my direction. If I get that in 3 trades, I'm double my money. Very simple. We often get a lot more than 0.33 increase, because if the entry is good, we might go even up to 0.7, 0.8, and so on, basically. On the other side, you can gamble, and that's what we've done. We have gambled at some point with one of the trades. You know, you can just decide to gamble. This is at extremely high risk, and it's just like gamble, which means if you get a winner trade, you let it run. You let it run and you leave it like that, and you would assume that if you can squeeze as much as possible out of it, you would do it. Yeah, that's all right. So you leave it, considering the market is going to skyrocket and a bull run comes, leave it like that, gamble for that, and it might happen. If it's happening, I can tell you our best result was 6,700% ROI, return of investment profit, 6,700%, which meant a 67% increase of the market, right? So the market went up 67%. First thing, we had a 5% increase. I do remember, I'm not going to forget this. 5% increase, and we let it. I said, I'm going to go for a gamble trade in this one, and I'm going to leave it like that, right? I'm not going to cash out. I'm going to use a strategy I used to go with. I'm just going to leave it like that for a gamble. Maybe there is a bull run, because I've seen the possibility of the bull run, right? So good. I left it like that, and then it went up to 67%. Multiply that with 100x, it's 6,700%. $100 means $6,700. Is that bad? No, because that's 67x. 67x. Is that a big deal? Of course it is. 67x profit possibility. In order to do this, you got to gamble. And, you know, maybe you're losing 20 times, but if you're making the bull run once, you just cover whatever you have lost. If you're going to go this way. However, I'm not suggesting, because it's, you know, just to go like this continuously is not a good deal in my opinion. Just keep going like this through gambling. No, it's not a good deal in my opinion. You have to struggle with your mentality and mindset for too much. Good, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to share your opinions in the description area, in the comments area. If you want to sign up for Bitmex, I have an affiliate link there if you want to use that. However, I want to have a one-on-one coaching program live with me on Skype lessons, where I'm teaching how to trade from A to Z on Bitmex, how to make money with profits. We don't do 100x there alone. We do from A to Z, how to be on profit on long term, how to lay down the foundations of a trader, how to make profits with 2x, 5x, 10x, 25, 50, 100s. We discuss all of them, and we're trying to build up a successful community of traders for long-term attention, right? So thank you so much for watching. Feel free to share your reactions. That's what I care about, to see if you find this strategy feasible or not. That's what I care. It worked for me. Sometimes it's not, because the entry I'm doing is wrong. I'm gonna assume I'm not a perfect trader. I have periods when I'm losing money for 2 weeks, but then I have periods when I'm making money for 3 months, right? So that's how a trader works. He needs to be on profit for long term. Very simple. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe. That's, you know, something I would appreciate. And hit that bell button next to the subscribe button once you've done that. That would be amazing because YouTube is going to tell you about my videos, right? So thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.